Senate will come to order. Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Birdwell, Blanco, Campbell, Cook, Creighton, Eckhart, Flores, Gutierrez, Hagenbu, Hall, Hancock, Hinojosa of Nueces, Hinojosa of Hidalgo, Huffman, Hughes, Johnson, King, Colcourse, Menendez, Middleton, Miles, Nichols, Parker, Paxton, Perry, Schwartner, Sparks, West, Zaffarini.
Members, of quorum is present. Would those in the gallery and on the floor please rise for the invocation to be delivered by Pastor Gary Douglas of Stonegate Church in Odessa, Texas.
Thank you for allowing me to be here today. Will you bow your heads? Heavenly Father, what an honor and a privilege it is to stand here today and pray for these courageous leaders whom you have put in place to serve the people of Texas. Father, I pray that each leader walks through this day, that they are led by your Holy Spirit. I pray for wisdom to rain down from heaven and fill their hearts and minds each day. Lord, help them as they struggle through tough choices and decisions. Allow them to have confidence in the decisions they make. Guide them to be gentle but firm with their questions and be humble and compassionate with their responses. Let them see you in everything that they do. Father, we thank you for your grace, your mercy, your love, and your generosity that you pour out upon your people. Lord, please always remind us of your faithfulness, especially when times get tough. Remind us that you are a God who knows all things and your ways are not our ways. I ask that you allow us to see those around us the way you want us to see them. Allow us to see the broken, the hurting, the ones in need. Remind each of us that we are made in your image. Therefore, we are image bearers of a holy God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. The Dean of the Senate moves to dispense with the reading of yesterday's journal. Is there objection? The chair hears none. The motion is adopted. Members, the following message from the governor. The secretary will read the message.
To the Senate of the 89th Legislature regular session, I ask the advice, consent, and confirmation of the Senate with respect to the following appointments. To be members of the Texas Optometry Board, Judith A. Judy Chambers, Austin; Tori W. Moore, Dumas; James A. Overman, Montgomery. Respectfully submitted, Greg Abbott, Governor of Texas, to nominations.
The chair recognizes Senator Huffman to introduce the Doctor of the Day.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. My honor to introduce the Doctor of the Day, Dr. Kimka Hakerim from Senate District 17. Dr. Hakerim earned his medical degree from the University of Port Harcourt in Nigeria, completed his family medicine residency at the Southwest Oklahoma Family Practice Residency in Lawton, Oklahoma. He went on to complete a fellowship in occupational medicine at the UT School of Public Health, where he also earned a Master of Public Health degree. Since completing his residency, Dr. Hakerim has practiced medicine in emergency rooms, various outpatient clinics, and occupational medicine clinics. Members, please welcome my constituent and Doctor of the Day, Dr. Kimka Hakerim, to the Senate floor. Thank you.
The chair recognizes Dean Zaffrini for a recognition.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President and members, it is my pleasure to introduce a very special guest today, Maureen McWhorter, who is serving as her Senate page for the day. She is the daughter of Sean and Megan McWhorter of Kyle, Texas, and is a sophomore in Hill Country Christian School in San Marcos, where she enjoys ballet, dance, and band as a singer, and has a strong passion for politics. She stands out among her peers for her deep engagement and awareness of the issues affecting fellow Texans. Please join me, members, in welcoming Maureen and thanking her for her service to the Texas Senate. It's also my pleasure to introduce the delegation from Live Oak County who is here for Live Oak County Day. Joining us in the North Gallery, and I'd ask them to stand and be recognized as I call their name, are County Judge James Liska, County Commissioners Lucio Morin and Randy Copeland, County Official Sheriff Larry Busby, Tiffany McWilliams, District Attorney, County Attorney Robert McWilliams, Miss Live Oak County Cora Barter, and Miss Live Oak County Runner-Up Jacqueline Sint. Please join me, members, in welcoming them to the Texas Senate. Also with us today, Mr. President and members, are members of the Longoria family. Today, the Senate will adjourn in memory of Jose Maria Longoria, a distinguished leader and public servant from Stark County. During World War II, Mr. Longoria enlisted in the U.S. Armed Forces and became an Army instructor in 1944. After his military service, he returned home and became an educator, business owner, county commissioner, and interim county judge in Stark County. With us today are members of his family, and I'll ask them to stand as I recognize them. His 6 children, Jose Maria Jr., Isaac, Roberto, Arturo, Thelma, and Romeo, and 2 grandchildren, Melissa Lopez and Roel Omar Longoria. Please stand and be recognized, and welcome to the Texas Senate. Thank you, Mr. President and members.
Chair recognizes Senator Kolkhorst for recognition.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. Today, I am so pleased to welcome to the gallery not only students from UHV, but also staff from UHV who have traveled this morning to experience their state government in action. We have in the audience Dr. Bob Glenn, president of UHV. Please stand. And we have a number of his staff members with him. Please stand as well. And then, most importantly, why we have these universities are the students. So it's a pleasure to recognize and welcome today the president of the Student Government Association, Toby Bo Walding. Toby, where are you? Bo, where are you? Stand up. Please stand up. And also other students in leadership positions from around the campus. I also see up there that we have the mascot, Jax the Jaguar. So welcome, Jax. And I want to say to all of our students that are here today, welcome to your Texas Senate, your Texas Senate. That is what it is. It is not the government. It is your government. We're so pleased to have y'all here. UHV was founded in 1973, and they offer some of the most affordable in-state tuition from anywhere in the state of Texas. And I will say that big changes are on the horizon for UHV, and so we want to say today, welcome. We are so glad that you are here to participate, and blessings to you as you continue to move through and get your degree. Members, help me welcome them.
Following motion in writing, Secretary will read the motion.
Motion in writing. Mr. President, I move that the nomination of Justin J.J. Koch to the Advisory Committee on the Texas Board of Criminal Justice on offenders with medical or mental impairments be withdrawn from the Committee on Nominations, and I further move that the nomination be returned to the governor pursuant to his request. Motion by Senator Campbell, Chair of Nominations.
Members, is there objection to the motion? Hearing and seeing none, motion is adopted. The chair recognizes Senator Campbell for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President and members, the Nomination Committee Action Report from our Monday meeting, March the 10th, 2025, has been placed on your desk in accordance with the Senate rules. This report will be eligible for consideration tomorrow. Thank you, members, and thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Campbell. Chair lays out the following resolution. Secretary will read the resolution.
Senate Resolution 224 by Hughes, recognizing March 11, 2025 as Panola County Day at the state capitol.
Chair recognizes Senator Hughes on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, members. It's a real joy for me to recognize the residents of Panola County who are here today celebrating Panola County Day. You know Panola County well from its history. Northeast Texas, borders Louisiana, officially created Panola by the legislature in 1846. Back then, cotton became the main agricultural product. Today, lush forests, popular for hiking, birding, camping. Natural gas there has been a blessing to that community and to the whole state and really the whole country for a long time. Great people who work hard and serve great jobs. Also the birthplace of several prominent Texans. Margie Elizabeth Neal, who you will remember was the first woman elected to serve in the Texas Senate. She's been featured in this body and across the state in many ways, the first female member elected to the Texas Senate from Panola County. Margie Neal, of course, country music stars like Tex Ritter and Jim Reeves. The Texas Country Music Hall of Fame is there, and many of you have been. I commend it to you for those who've not. Of course, Panola College, which we're so proud of, our historic Esquire Theater, where the Country Music Hayride live show takes place, the Quilt Festival in April, and the Classic Country Music Festival weekend in August, where new members are inducted. Some of the biggest names, all the biggest names in Texas country music and others. We could go on about this place. It's a special place. Also, Panola County is the location of the only international border marker located in the continental United States. It was placed there in 1842 as the border between the Republic of Texas and the United States. That marker is still there, and we're working on developing that site even now. So March 11th, Panola County Day. And so as I move adoption, let me ask our friends from Panola County to stand so that we can recognize you in the gallery. Please stand. Members, please welcome our friends from Panola County. Many of you know them well. Thank you guys for being here today. With that, Mr. President, I proudly move adoption of Senate Resolution 224.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there objection to the adoption of the resolution? Chair hears none. The resolution is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, members. Thank y'all so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you.
Chair lays out the following resolutions. Secretary will read the resolutions.
SR 67 by Zaffarini, SR 223 by Colkhorst, SR 226 by West, SR 227 by Creighton, SR 229 by Zaffarini, SR 230 by Zaffarini, SR 231 by Hancock, SR 234 by Perry, SR 235 by Perry, SR 236 by Zaffarini.
Members, this is a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The resolutions are adopted. Members, if there are no objections, I would like to postpone the reading and referral of bills and resolutions until the end of today's calendar. Is there objection? Hearing and seeing none, it is so ordered. Members, that concludes the morning call. He's ready. Senator Perry, you are recognized for a motion to suspend the regular order of business and the constitutional order of business. On Committee Substitute Senate Bill 262.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, move to suspend the regular order as well as the constitutional order to take up the business. First, consider SB 262. Currently certified public accountants, CPA candidates must complete 150 hours of education with 1 year of work experience. Due to declining CPA candidates, Senate Bill 262 proposes an alternative path for CPAs, license requirement requiring a baccalaureate degree, including the required accounting courses and 2 years of relevant work experience. No questions at this time. I'd move to suspend the Senate regular order of business as well as constitutional to take up Senate Bill SB 262.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there objection to suspending the regular order of business and the constitutional order of business? Hearing and seeing none. Motion is suspended. The rules are suspended. Chair lays out on second reading. Committee Substitute Senate Bill 262. Secretary will read the caption.
Committee Substitute Senate Bill 262, relating to eligibility requirements to practice public accountancy.
Members, there's an amendment. Secretary will read the amendment.
Floor Amendment Number 1 by Perry.
Senator Perry to explain the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. The amendment specifically changes the effective date from January 1, 27 to August 1 of 2026 to better align with the academic world in the accounting world.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there objection to adopting floor amendment number 1? Hearing and seeing none, the amendment is adopted. Senator Perry, you're recognized for a motion.
Move passage to engrossment of Senate Bill 262.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there objection to passage to engrossment? Hearing and seeing none, it's passed to engrossment. Senator Perry, you're recognized for a motion to suspend the constitutional 3-day rule.
Move to suspend the constitutional rule that bills be read on 3 several days.
Members, Senator Perry's moved to suspend the constitutional 3-day rule. Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Bettencourt, Birdwell, Blanco, Campbell.
There being 31 ayes and no nays, the rule is suspended. Chair lays out on third reading and final passage. Committee Substitute Senate Bill 262. Secretary will read the caption.
Committee Substitute Senate Bill 262, relating to eligibility requirements to practice public accountancy.
Senator Perry, you recognized for a motion.
Move final passage.
Members, Senator Perry moves final passage. Committee substitute Senate Bill 262. Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Bardwell,
Being
Blanco.
31 ayes and no nays, the bill is finally
Members.
passed. Congratulations, Senator Perry. Senator Hall, you're recognized for a motion to suspend the regular order of business and the constitutional order of business on Senate Bill 140.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, my layout is a little bit longer than the bill itself, but not nearly as long as the layout for the Lottery Commission. And if you'll remember last session, it went out of here unanimous. It was unanimous out of the House, but it got vetoed by the governor for reasons unrelated to the content. Both chapters 302 and 304 of Business Commerce Code address telephone solicitations. Chapter 304 defines a telephone call to include phone calls and text messages from telemarketers. Because Chapter 302 does not have any definition of a telephone call, consumers are not adequately protected against unauthorized calls or unauthorized text messages under Chapter 302. By voting for this bill, your constituents will be protected from unwanted calls and extra text under Chapter 302. In a recent court case, a judge held that a company sending thousands of text messages per day did not qualify as a telemarketer because the drafters of Chapter 302 forgot to define telephone calls. That means the courts are interpreting Chapter 302 very narrowly, and the lack of a definition will help Texans when they need these protections in court. All we need is for the telephone call to be defined in Chapter 302. This bill does just that. Simply put, SB 140 simply extends the definition of a telephone call found in Chapter 304 to Chapter 302. If this bill passes, unregistered callers and text messages that violate the telemarketing registration requirement will be subject to a Class A misdemeanor. Again, last session, this bill passed unanimously off the Senate floor and passed overwhelmingly in the House. With that, Mr. President, I'm happy to take any questions.
Members, you've heard Senator Hall's motion to suspend the constitutional and regular order of business on Senate Bill 140. Is there objection? Hearing and seeing none, rules suspended. Chair lays out on second reading Senate Bill 140. Secretary will read the caption.
Senate Bill 140, relating the definition of telephone call for purposes of regulating telephone solicitations.
Senator Hall, you're recognized for a motion.
Mr. President, I move passage to engrossment of Senate Bill 140.
Members, Senator Hall moves passage to engrossment. Is there objection? Hearing and seeing none, bill is passed to engrossment. Senator Hall, you're recognized for a motion to suspend the constitutional 3-day rule.
So moved, Mr. President.
Members, Senator Hall moves suspension of the 3-day rule. Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Bardwell, Blanco, Campbell,
There being
Cook.
31 ayes and no nays, the rule is suspended. Chair lays out on third reading and final passage Senate Bill 140. Secretary will read the caption.
Senate Bill 140, relating to the definition of telephone call for purposes of regulating telephone solicitations.
Senator Hall, you're recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move final passage of Senate Bill 140.
Members, Senator Hall moves final passage Senate Bill 140. Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Bardwell, Blanco.
There being 31 ayes and no nays, the bill is finally passed. Congratulations, Senator Hall.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, members.
Senator Perry, you're recognized for a motion to suspend the regular order of business and the constitutional order of business on Senate Bill 370.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, currently confidentiality statutes contain lists of certain government employees that are allowed to exempt their names from public disclosure on state records and in property tax records. These statutes help ensure that these government employees can keep their home addresses and personal identifying information confidentially. Current law only provides that confidentiality protections to a few limited divisions of the OIG, Office of Attorney General. Senate Bill 370 allows the current and all former employees of the AG's office and their children and their spouses to obtain confidentiality protections regardless which division the employee worked in the agency. With that, I move to suspend the Senate's constitutional and regular order of business to take up Senate Bill 370.
Members, you've heard the motion to suspend the regular order of business and constitutional order of business on Senate Bill 370. Is there objection? Hearing and seeing none, rules suspended. Chair lays out on second reading Senate Bill 370. Secretary will read the caption.
Senate Bill 370, relating the availability of certain personal information of a child, spouse, or surviving spouse of a current or former employee of the Office of Attorney General.
Members, there's an amendment. Secretary will read the amendment.
Floor Amendment Number 1 by Miles.
Senator Miles, you're recognized on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. This amendment, colleagues, will add employees of Public Defender's Office to those names who are not published. Currently, this protection only extends to federal and public defenders, and this adds local offices as well. I believe this amendment is acceptable to the author.
Senator Perry on the amendment.
Members, this is acceptable to the author. It's good change. Appreciate Senator Miles bringing it to my attention.
Members, the adoption of the amendment is before us. Is there objection to adopting an amendment that is favorable to the author? Hearing and seeing none, the amendment is adopted. Senator Perry, you're recognized for a motion.
Move passage to engrossment.
Members, Senator Perry moves passage to engrossment of Senate Bill 370. Is there objection? Hearing and seeing none, the bill is passed to engrossment. Senator Perry, you're recognized for a motion to suspend the constitutional 3-day rule.
Move to suspend the constitutional 3-day rule.
Members, you've heard Senator Perry's motion. Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Birdwell.
There being 31 ayes and no nays, the rules are suspended. Chair lays out on third reading and final passage Senate Bill 370. Secretary will read the caption.
Senate Bill 370, relating the availability of certain personal information of a child, spouse, or surviving spouse of a current or former employee of the Office of Attorney General.
Senator Perry, you're recognized for a motion.
Move final passage Senate Bill 370.
Members, Senator Perry moves final passage SB 370. Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Birdwell,
Being
Blanco.
31 ayes and no nays, the bill is finally passed. Congratulations,
Thank you, Mr.
Senator Perry.
President, members.
Senator Sparks, you're recognized for a motion to suspend the regular order of business and the constitutional order of business on Senate Bill 767.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. I move at this time to suspend the regular order of business and the constitutional order of business in order to take up and consider Senate Bill 767. Members, as you know, about 90% of the wildfires that ravaged our great state at this time last year were in my district. This legislation is a result of the House committee report that investigated those fires. Texas A&M Forest Service currently uses a database that tracks emergency response equipment at fire stations across the state. This bill enhances that database so that the information is accessible to fire departments statewide, including emergency service districts and volunteer fire departments. The database must include equipment descriptions, fire department contact information, and allow searches by location and equipment type. This would improve the coordination and planning by all fire departments to share and locate equipment more effectively during emergencies. And I have an amendment to this bill.
Members, Senator Sparks moves to suspend the regular order of business and the constitutional order of business on Senate Bill 767. Is there objection? Hearing and seeing none, rules are suspended. Chair lays out on second reading Senate Bill 767. Secretary will read the caption.
Senate Bill 767, relating to creating a database of the firefighting equipment in the state available for use in responding to wildfires.
Members, there is an amendment. Secretary will read the amendment.
Floor Amendment Number 1 by Sparks.
Senator Sparks on the amendment.
Members, this amendment simply clarifies that the Texas Forest Service must remind each fire department every year to update the database. And I would like to thank Senator Hancock for his help on this amendment. With that, Mr. President, I move suspension.
Adoption of the amendment.
Oh, I'm sorry, I move adoption.
Members, you've heard the motion of Senator Sparks to adopt the amendment. Is there objection to adopting floor amendment number 1? Hearing and seeing none, the amendment is adopted. Senator Sparks, you're recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move passage to engrossment.
Members, Senator Sparks has moved passage to engrossment. Is there objection? Hearing and seeing none, bill is passed to engrossment. Senator Sparks, you're recognized for a motion to suspend the constitutional 3-day rule.
Thank you, Mr. President. So moved.
Members, Senator Sparks moves suspension of the 3-day rule. Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt,
There being
Birdwell.
31 ayes and no nays, the rule is suspended. Chair lays that on third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 767. Secretary will read the caption.
Senate Bill 767, relating to creating a database of the firefighting equipment in the state available for use in responding to wildfires.
Senator Sparks, you're recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move final passage of Senate Bill 767.
Members, Senator Sparks moves final passage. Senate Bill 767. Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Birdwell,
There being
Blanco.
31 ayes and no nays, the bill is finally passed. Congratulations, Senator Sparks.
Thank you, Mr. President and members.
Senator Perry, you're recognized for a motion to suspend the regular order of business and the constitutional order of business on Senate Bill 480.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 480 provides a general authorization for local governments to enter into interlocal agreements for purposes of water planning and joint planning and research. Current law is unclear as to whether these counties, municipals, and certain special districts are allowed to participate in the various types of water planning related issues, research, and authorized by the Texas Water Code. Accordingly, Senate Bill 480 resolves the ambiguities in existing law by providing general authorization for all types of local governments to participate in those areas. If there are no questions at this time, I move to suspend the constitutional and regular order of business to take up Senate Bill 480.
Members, Senator Perry moves suspension of the regular order of business, constitutional order of business on Senate Bill 480. Is there objection? Hearing and seeing none, rules suspended. Chair lays out on second reading Senate Bill 480. Secretary will read the caption.
Senate Bill 480, relating to the authority of a local government to enter into interlocal contract with certain government entities to participate in water research or planning activities.
Senator Perry, you recognized for a motion.
Move passage to engrossment.
Members, Senator Perry moves passage to engrossment. Is there objection? Hearing and seeing none, bill is passed to engrossment. Senator Perry, you recognized for a motion to suspend the constitutional 3-day rule.
Move to suspend the constitutional 3-day rule.
Members, Senator Perry moves suspension of the 3-day rule. Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Birdwell,
Being
Blanco.
31 ayes and no nays, the rule suspended. Chair lays out on third reading and final passage Senate Bill 480. Secretary will read the caption.
Senate Bill 480, relating to the authority of a local government to enter into an interlocal contract with certain government entities to participate in water research or planning activities.
Senator Perry, you recognized for a motion.
Move final passage to SB 480.
Senator Perry moves final passage Senate Bill 480. Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Birdwell.
Being 31 ayes and no nays, the bill is finally passed. Congratulations, Senator Perry.
Mr. President, members.
Senator Hughes, you are recognized for a motion to suspend the regular order of business and the constitutional order of business on SJR 34.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I move to suspend the regular order of business and the constitutional order of business to take up and consider at this time Senate Joint Resolution 34. Those who were here last session may remember this measure. SJR 34 is designed to take current law, current case law, common law. We're familiar with common law. When a judge issues an opinion, it becomes common law. And so this is located all over the case books. SJR 34 is twofold. It takes the existing common law on parental rights and puts them in statute. This would puts them in the Constitution, pardon me. This will provide clarity for attorneys, for lawyers, so folks know what their rights are. That's all this does. We take current law in Texas that's scattered across various cases and put it in the Texas Constitution. That's what the resolution does, and that's my motion.
Members, can we have a bit of order? Senator Hinojosa of Hidalgo, for what purpose?
Will Senator Hughes yield for a couple of questions?
Do you yield, Senator Hughes?
Of course I'll yield.
You are recognized, Senator Hinojosa.
Thank you, Mr. President. And by the way, I like your bill. As we all know, there's some very basic rights and basic principles about parental control, having a say-so on how the children are raised. And part of the challenge we've had has been that we have had issues with the court system that we have. Depending on who the judge is, depending on where we are, those can change, be modified. This way, it's in the Constitution, and we know exactly what basic rights a parent has in raising the children. Is that what your bill does?
Senator, that's exactly right. Thank you. You stated it perfectly.
So we're not at the whim of any judge or any court, depending on location. These are very basic rights that we have had since, since families started getting and raising their children, making sure that they raise their children right and without any outside interference.
Senator, thank you. That's exactly right. I agree. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Hughes, and thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Hinojosa. Senator Menendez, for what purpose?
Questions of the author of the resolution.
Do you yield, Senator Hughes?
Of course I yield.
You're recognized, Senator Menendez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Hughes, I am supportive of your Senate joint resolution, but I have a couple of concerns. As you are probably aware of, we've made some changes to the law in the past few years that have made it in some cases more difficult for Child Protective Services to intervene in some custody issues. And I have a concern that while I believe first and foremost the relationship between parent and child is one of the most sacred that we must protect, by the same token, when that parent crosses a threshold and is now causing danger or imminent danger to a child, would this potentially keep Child Protective Services from protecting children in Texas?
Senator, that's an important question because of that balance between protecting children and respecting parental rights. And so subsection B of SJR 34 has the test, and it's the same test that every state action which burden parental rights has to meet. So this does not get into the details of the legislation you're describing. This just takes the constitutional test and puts it in place. So this does not go into the details of recent legislation you're describing.
Very good. So if we make a slight change or accommodation to the language, because in recent years there was a change for imminent or immediate danger was the new threshold for changing custody. If we feel that too many kids in Texas have become endangered or been hurt because of that, we can still modify that. Is that?
Senator, the answer is yes, that's important. And to make sure that I'm directly answering the question, if the Senate and the House approve this and the voters approve it, here's what will be required to make a change you described. We would have to show that it is essential, this change is essential to further a compelling government interest, protecting children, and it's narrowly tailored to accomplish that compelling government interest. So that's always been the standard. So it would not affect the situation you're describing.
Thank you for answering my questions. I appreciate your resolution and your questions, and I have no further questions. Thank you, Mr. President, members.
Thank you, Senator.
Members, Senator Hughes moves to suspend the regular order of business and the constitutional order of business on SJR 34. Is there objection? Hearing and seeing none, rules suspended. Chair lays out on second reading SJR 34. Secretary will read the caption.
SJR 34, proposing a constitutional amendment protecting the right of parents to raise their children.
Senator Hughes, you're recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, this is something we can agree on. I thank the members for their questions and for their input. This makes sense, and I move adoption.
Members, Senator Hughes moves passage to engrossment. Is there objection? Hearing and seeing none, bill is passed to engrossment. Senator Hughes, you're recognized for a motion to suspend the constitutional 3-day rule.
Mr. President, I move suspension of the rule that bills be read on 3 several days, the constitutional rule.
Members, Senator Hughes moves suspension of the 3-day rule. Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Birdwell, Blanco,
There
Campbell.
being 31 ayes and no nays, the rule is suspended. Chair lays it on third reading and final passage, SJR 34. Secretary will read the caption.
SJR 34, proposing a constitutional amendment protecting the right of parents to raise their children.
Senator Hughes, you're recognized for a motion.
Mr. President, I move final passage.
Members, Senator Hughes moves final passage, SJR 34. Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt,
There
Birdwell.
being 31 ayes and no nays, the bill is finally passed. Congratulations, Senator Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, members.
Senator Zaffarini recognized for motion to suspend the regular order of business and the constitutional order of business on Senate Bill 627.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President and members, I move to suspend the Senate's regular order of business and the constitutional order of business in order to take up and consider at this time Senate Bill 627 relating to removing obsolete language from TDLR's occupation code for dietitian licensure. Generally, members, this bill would remove antiquated terms and incorrect language regarding provisional licensed dietitians from existing law, and to eliminate ambiguity, strike the words "and fitness" from the section of the Occupations Code that regulates dietitians. Mr. President, I move suspension.
Senator Zaffarini moves suspension of the regular order of business and the constitutional order of business on Senate Bill 627. Is there objection? Hearing none, the rules are suspended. Chair lays out on second reading Senate Bill 627. The Secretary read the caption.
Senate Bill 627, relating the licensing and regulation of dietitians.
Senator Zaffarini is recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move passage to engrossment.
Senator Zaffarini moves passage to engrossment. Is there objection? Hearing none, the bill is passed to engrossment. Senator Zaffarini, you're recognized for a motion to suspend the constitutional 3-day rule.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to suspend the constitutional rule that bills be heard on 3 several days.
Senator Zaffarini moves suspension of the 3-day rule. Secretary, call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Birdwell, Blanco, Campbell, Cook.
31 ayes, no nays. Rules are suspended. Chair lays out on third reading and final passage of Senate Bill 627. Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Bill 627, relating the licensing and regulation of dietitians.
Senator Zaffarini recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move final passage.
Senator Zaffarini moves final passage of Senate Bill 627. Secretary, call the roll.
Alvarado, Betancourt, Birdwell, Blanco, Campbell, Cook, Creighton, Eckhart, Flores.
31 ayes, 30 ayes and 1 nay. The bill is finally passed.
Thank you, Mr. President and members.
Senator Zaffarini, you recognized for a motion to suspend the regular order of business and the constitutional order of business on Senate Bill 764.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President and members, I move to suspend the Senate's regular order of business and the constitutional order of business in order to take up and consider at this time Senate Bill 764 relating to the procedure of a hearing by TDLR on the denial of an electrician's license or disciplinary action against an electrician. Generally, members, this bill would delete existing antiquated text regarding TDLR electrician hearing officers. Mr. President, I move suspension.
Senator Zaffarini moves suspension of the regular order of business on Senate Bill 764. Is there objection? Hearing none. Rules are suspended. Chair lays out on second reading Senate Bill 764. Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Bill 764, relating the procedure for a hearing by the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation on the denial of an electrician's license or disciplinary action against an electrician.
Senator Zaffarini recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move passage to engrossment.
Senator Zaffarini moves passage to engrossment. Is there objection? Hearing none. The bill is passed to engrossment. Senator Dean Zaffarini, you recognized for a motion to suspend the constitutional 3-day rule.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to suspend the constitutional rule that bills be heard on 3 several days.
Senator Zaffarini moves suspension of the 3-day rule. Secretary, call the roll.
Alvarado, Bencourt, Birdwell, Blanco, Campbell.
31 ayes, no nays. The rules are suspended. Chair lays out on third reading and final passage of Senate Bill 764. Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Bill 764, relating the procedure for a hearing by the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation on the denial of an electrician's license.
Senator Zaffarini recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move final passage.
Senator Zaffarini moves final passage of Senate Bill 764. Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Bencourt, Birdwell, Blanco, Campbell.
31 ayes, no nays. The bill is finally passed. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. President, members, and happy birthday to Senator Menendez.
Happy birthday. The President's desk is clear. Are there any announcements? The Chair recognizes Dean of the Senate for, hold on just. Are there any announcements? Senator Betancourt for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. Local government has posted a meeting for Thursday morning at 9 o'clock to vote out pending business. So members, that should take us approximately about 15 minutes, but that's Thursday at 9 o'clock. Thank you.
Senator Creighton for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, the Senate Education Committee K through 16 will reconvene at 12:40 p.m. in E1028. 1240 E1028.
Senator Kokhorst for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate Health and Human Services Committee will meet at 1:45 today.
Thank you, Senator Kokhorst. Chair recognizes Senator Schwertner for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I move to suspend the 24-hour posting rule in accordance with Senate Rule 11.10 and Senate Rule 11.18 so that the Senate Committee on Business and Commerce can take up and vote on pending business Wednesday, March 12th at 8:30 a.m. in the Betty King Room. Thank you, Mr. President.
Is there objection of the motion? Hearing none, the motion is adopted. Senator Hagenbu, do you have an announcement? Your light is on. Do you have an announcement, Senator Hagenbu? Following motion in writing, Secretary read the motion.
Motion in writing. Mr. President, I move to suspend Senate Rule 11.13 so that committees may meet during the reading and referral of bills. Motion by Zaffarini.
Is there objection to the motion? Hearing none, motion is adopted. Members, if you can take your seats for a memorial adjournment. Members, if you can take your seats. Chair recognizes the Dean of the Senate for a highly privileged motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President and members, I move that the Senate adjourn until 11 a.m. Wednesday, March 12th, pending the reading and referral of bills in memory of Jose Maria Longoria Sr. of Rio Grande City. Members, you met his children and his grandchildren who were in the gallery earlier, and we described him earlier as an outstanding veteran, an outstanding business person, and a true legacy in Stark County. And it is my pleasure to move that we adjourn in his memory. Thank you, Mr. President and members.
Is there objection? The chair hears none. The Senate stands adjourned until 11 a.m. Wednesday, March the 12th, pending the reading and referral of bills.
Senate Bill 1626 by Hughes relating to censorship of or certain other interference with digital expression. To State Affairs. Senate Bill 1627 by Colcourse relating to patient data maintained by pharmacy benefit managers to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1628 by Miles relating to the consideration of criminal history record information of applicants for public employment to Business and Commerce. Senate Bill 1629 by Perry relating to the administration by the Texas Water Development Board of the Texas Water Bank to Water, Agricultural, and Rural Affairs. Senate Bill 1630 by Flores relating to the training of prospective grand jurors to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1631 by Campbell relating to the establishment by the Texas Workforce Commission of an advanced nuclear energy workforce development program to economic development. Senate Bill 1632 by Campbell relating to parking lots and parking garages adjacent or near to certain county courthouses to local government. Senate Bill 1633 by Campbell relating to the authority of a county commissioner's court to adopt an exemption from ad valorem taxation by each taxing unit that taxes the property of the portion of the appraised value of a person's property to local government. Senate Bill 1634 by Hinojosa of Nueces and Hinojosa of Hidalgo relating to state recognition of the Lipan Apache tribe of Texas to State Affairs. Senate Bill 1635 by Hinojosa of Nueces and Middleton relating to a credit against required recapture payments for certain school districts for the cost of windstorm and hail insurance to Education K through 16. Senate Bill 1636 by Hinojosa of Nueces relating to prohibiting a school district from using interest and sinking tax revenue to pay for deferred maintenance to Education K through 16. Senate Bill 1637 by King relating to an exception to the application of the offense of deadly conduct for certain peace officers discharging official duties to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1638 by Zaffarini relating to sexual assault and other sex offenses to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1639 by Sparks relating to imposing a tax on the generation of electricity by certain electric generators to finance. Senate Bill 1640 by Hagenbu relating to access to criminal history record information for purposes of the Medicaid program to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1641 by Zaffarini relating to load forecast used in transmission planning for the ERCOT power region to Business and Commerce. Senate Bill 1642 by Schwartner relating to the composition of, appointment of, and qualifications for the State Commission of Insurance to Business and Commerce. Senate Bill 1643 by Schwartner relating to prior approval of certain property and casualty insurance rate increases or decreases to Business and Commerce. Senate Bill 1644 by Schwartner relating to the use of a consumer's credit score in the underwriting or rating of certain personal lines, property, and casualty insurance policies to Business and Commerce. Senate Bill 1645 by Perry relating to a study by the Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center on health, nutrition, physical activity, and chronic health issues in this state to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1646 by King relating to criminal conduct involving the theft or unauthorized possession of copper or brass to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1647 by Hughes relating to the practice and procedures for summoning prospective grand jurors and petty jurors and the exemption of certain persons from grand jury to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1648 by Hughes relating to regulation of online global marketplaces to Business and Commerce. Senate Bill 1649 by Blanco and Parker relating to designating the Wyndham School District to provide post-secondary education to students of the district to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1650 by Flores relating to the authority of the Attorney General to prosecute certain criminal offenses against public order to jurisprudence. Senate Bill 1651 by Hughes relating to the Rural Sheriff's Office Salary Assistance Grant Program to finance. Senate Bill 1652 by Zaffarini et al. Relating to the source of dogs and cats sold by pet stores to Business and Commerce. Senate Bill 1653 by Hughes relating to the provision of certain co-navigation services to individuals who are deafblind to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1654 by Parker relating to the definition of abuse of a child to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1656 by Gutierrez relating to designating May 24 as victims of the Uvalde shooting day to administration. Senate Bill 1657 by Gutierrez et al. Relating to prohibiting the transfer of certain semi-automatic rifles to certain recipients to State Affairs. Senate Bill 1658 by Gutierrez et al. Relating to regulating certain firearm transfers to State Affairs. Senate Bill 1659 by Hughes relating to requiring a warrant to search certain location information purchased by a government entity from a data broker or electronic personal data tracker to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1660 by Huffman relating to the retention and preservation of toxicological evidence of certain intoxication offenses to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1661 by Johnson relating to the provision of nutrition support services to Medicaid recipients to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1662 by Zaffarini relating to notice provided to certain public drinking water supply systems to Water, Agricultural, and Rural Affairs. Senate Bill 1663 by Zaffarini relating to notification procedures concerning groundwater contamination to Water, Agriculture, and Rural Affairs. Senate Bill 1664 by Schwertner relating to public information regarding the rates of a transmission and distribution utility to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1665 by Schwertner relating to a study by the Public Utility Commission of Texas on the feasibility of constructing certain extra high voltage transmission lines to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1666 by Zaffarini relating to the payment of restitution by a person released on parole or to mandatory supervision to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1667 by Zaffarini relating to the procedures for the expunction of arrest records and files to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1668 by Huffman relating to the prosecution of the criminal offense of the possession, manufacture, transport, repair, or sale of certain devices intended to modify handguns to state affairs. Senate Bill 1669 by Zaffarini relating to the regulation of stormwater management by certain counties to Water, Agriculture, and Rural Affairs. Senate Bill 1670 by Menendez relating to the provision of certain information to a county child welfare board member to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1671 by Menendez relating to individualized education program requirements for students placed in alternative special education settings to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1672 by Menendez relating to the inclusion of instruction in personal financial literacy in the required curriculum for public high school students to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1673 by Menendez relating to the prosecution and punishment of the offense of cruelty to non-livestock animals to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1674 by Menendez relating to the minimum motor vehicle liability insurance coverage requirement for bodily injury or death to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1675 by Menendez relating to the duties of a pharmacist regarding medication profiles for high-risk patients in certain hospitals to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1676 by Menendez relating to an allotment for public school students who require significant resources under the Foundation School Program to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1677 by Menendez relating to a study by the Department of State Health Services on prevention and reduction of diabetes-related amputation to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1678 by Menendez relating to health benefit plan coverage for certain treatments prescribed for autism spectrum disorder to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1679 by Menendez relating to the establishment of the Building Better Futures program to support educational and occupational skills training to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1680 by Menendez relating to access to an adult changing station in the capital to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1681 by Menendez relating to an annual boarding home facility report for certain counties and municipalities to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1682 by Menendez relating to exceptions to and the repeal of certain laws prohibiting abortion to state affairs. Senate Bill 1683 by Menendez relating to staff development requirements for public school educators to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1684 by Menendez relating to the regulation of limited service pregnancy resource centers to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1685 by Menendez relating to minimum standards for pregnancy resource centers to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1686 by Menendez relating to requiring the Cybersecurity Council to conduct a study concerning the cybersecurity of school districts to education K through 16. Senate Bill 1687 by Menendez relating to the designation of a portion of State Highway 151 in Bexar County as the Mr. Samuel E. Luna Jr. Memorial Bridge to transportation. Senate Bill 1688 by Menendez relating to health benefit plan coverage of anxiety and pain management to Health, Human Services. Senate Bill 1689 by Menendez relating to the designation of a portion of Loop 1604 in Bexar County as the Lieutenant Colonel Albert E. Smart Jr. Memorial Bridge to transportation. Senate Bill 1690 by Menendez relating to a Texas Department of Criminal Justice record of information regarding death penalty drugs to criminal justice. Senate Bill 1691 by Menendez relating to the disruption of quiet enjoyment of a residence with pamphlets, leaflets, or flyers demonstrating ethnic or religious animus to state affairs. Senate Bill 1692 by Hall and Sparks relating to a limitation on wind and solar installed generation capacity in the ERCOT power region to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1693 by Hall relating to the reporting of child abuse or neglect to Health and Human Services. Senate Bill 1694 by Hall and Middleton relating to the source of power for stations and other equipment used to dispense energy to electric vehicles to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1695 by Hall relating to the use by a political subdivision of money for lobbying and certain other activities to state affairs. Senate Bill 1696 by Hall et al. Relating to the inclusion of a person's sex on certain government documents and identification cards to state affairs. Senate Bill 1697 by Zaffarini relating to a customer guide to home solar energy devices to business and commerce. Senate Bill 1698 by Parker relating to the sale of certain e-cigarettes in this state and a directory of e-cigarette manufacturers and their products to state affairs. Senate Bill 1699 by Parker relating to the definition of tobacco product for the purposes of the cigars and tobacco products tax to finance. Senate Bill 1700 by Parker relating to the Artificial Intelligence Division within the Department of Information Resources to Business and Commerce.
Pursuant to a motion previously adopted, the Senate stands adjourned until 11 a.m. tomorrow, March 12th. Oops, wrong thing.